Oh, well, look at that. I don't know what's going on here. Good morning, everybody. Look, the empty chair is there. I guess YouTube is a little slow this morning. It's a little weird about what's happening. Yeah, there we go. I'm walking into the frame. Boom. All right, there we go. I don't know. Are you guys getting this? Am I slow on this? What's happening? What do you got? YouTube's being so wonky. I don't know why. Usually I can see stuff going down. How am I sounding? Is anybody hearing how I sound? Hello, hello. Can anybody see me? Respond. I'd love it if anybody responded. This is kind of a weird situation. I'm okay. All right, cool, cool. Just want to make sure everyone is feeling it right now. Okay, so here's the deal with what's going on. I was adding some new programs, some new stuff to this situation, trying to get it a little bit tighter. And I like the look better now on the camera. I like the. I didn't like. I felt it was a bit washed out yesterday. But yeah, and I have the yeah, a little delayed, right? Yeah, so that's what I don't understand. What is happening with that? Is there a setting that I've done here on the YouTube or here on the OBS? Because the OBS, for whatever reason, is a little delayed, and I don't know why that is. I don't know what I'm missing. If there's a input or a media source or something like that that I'm maybe not figuring out that needs to go up in here, I don't know. So I'm trying to figure it all out as I go along, but I do sense that I'm a little bit behind. So maybe there's a situation going on there with that. So how does it feel? The audio is a bit slightly out of sync. Yeah, I'm out of sync. Yeah, that's what I don't understand what's happening with OBS. Why am I out of sync with OBS? It's weird. Maybe a little bit better there. Maybe it's just catching up. No, it's going a little slow. So I may kill this thing. I don't know. I don't want you guys to have to deal with me being lagging with the audio and everything like that. And maybe I need to figure out what's happening because maybe there's a delay on the audio that I didn't know about. Oh, maybe this. Oh, maybe that. Maybe. Okay, so let me stop it real quick and then I'll restart it again. Usually I'll stop it and then restart it again. Oh, maybe. Maybe something else running in the background. Not that I know of. Nope. No, nothing else running in the background, so I don't understand what's happening. So, honestly, I may kill it. I apologize to you all so much, but I don't want you all watching me out of sync. And it seems weird that it's being out of sync, so I don't know what's happening. Maybe. Let me see here. Maybe it's a matter of it being. Or maybe it's as simple as that. All right, how about now? How's it looking now? It's fine, Rocha. Just do not move a lot so the net can catch up with you. I think this is, yeah. Is it better now? Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to do. To be honest with you, I don't know what to do. Read the chat, says Maria. All right. I'll read the chat. Well, let's just thank everybody who's in here now. Thank you, Jake Jacobetta, for moderating, my man. Thank you so much for the thumbnail. It's always great. Let's see. Haskell 420, thanks for being in here. Zach Rudin Babar, how are you? Maria Hammond, thanks so much. Greg Mack, how are you? Monkey Vault DJs. Chris Lee, Colin Gonzi, Adalia Chamberlain, what's going down? Darren Batan, Darren Batten, how are you? Victor Acosta, Matthew Hannon, Rick Samoris. Rick Samoris getting kicked out of the SCN Live chat room, but somehow surviving in the Outlaw Nation chat room. So congratulations to you, Ricks. Jason Yassine, Jesse Lowe, Jordan Anderson, Avio Levenstein, Cameron Hainsworth. A lot of people I haven't seen in a bit. So thanks so much for all you jumping in. Saying, how are you? Saying the volume is a bit low. I have it as high as it can go, so I don't know what to tell you. And I bought this new arm for the mic, this thing here. So it's connecting up in that way. So Kelsey says it's delayed but still a bit watchable. Thank you, Kelsey, for being in here. A lot of fun seeing you moderate the chat last night for Winston's thing on Chill to Action. Ben Landers wants to know if anything running in the background. No, I have nothing on the iMac running in the background, so I don't know what's going on. Matthew Hannon said it's not that bad. It's better, just like a half-second delay, says Colin Gonzi. I switched over from Google Chrome to Safari, and I think that fixed it a little bit. So maybe that's the situation. Stizzy's house says, push through it, fam. Push through it, fam. All right, I will. The lag isn't terrible. It's only slightly off. Okay. Everyone's saying it's getting slightly better. Yeah. Okay, we're good to go now. Everyone says it's good. All right, cool. I've got no Streamlabs up. I do have one Streamlabs up, and I do have one. I don't have any super chats up, rather. So, good morning to everyone. Thank you all so much for joining me on this lovely Tuesday morning here in the world of the Outlaw Nation on my Outlaw Nation YouTube channel. Yes, as you saw on Twitter, as you saw on here, we crossed 12,000 subscribers to the channel. You know, it had been a bit of it was like a sprint in January because of everything that happened over there at my previous outlet. And then it started to kind of slowly drip, and slow down a little bit because I realized, after people come aboard, you have to actually kind of do content for everybody. So I had to figure all that out through the latter part of January into February so that I could figure out what I want to do. And so all of that, piece by piece, step by step, doing this show in the morning has been a really cool thing to do. And that's been the positive thing overall about what to create, what to make, and gotten me on task and making sure I do one show at least a day. Obviously, I want to put out two to three videos a day, and I've been talking to Greg Alba at The Real Rejects about what's the standard for doing something like that, because I really want to be a consistent YouTube channel, consistent content provider, and a unique content provider for you guys. So trying to figure that all out takes a little bit of time, and I'm doing it, step by step. So you guys are a big reason for that and supporting me, supporting what I'm doing here. I can't thank you all enough. You can send the Streamlabs in. Those are the things that keep me going, keep me doing this every morning. Send the super chats in as well. And of course, you can support me on my Patreon at patreon.com/John Rocha. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming down the pike for that. There'll be some watching of old matches. There'll be some helping me study for Paul Oyama. There'll be separate shows. I may do a separate Outlaw Nation show for my Patreon subscribers where we talk about the mental health issues, talk about things of that nature, and bring on guests and I'm looking to do that every Monday night. That's kind of my goal, either by myself or I can get a guest to come and join me. That's kind of what I'm looking at, or Monday day and just put it out there on Monday night for the patrons. So things of that nature are all coming down the pike. So there's over 100 of you all in here. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Please swing that cursor over and hit the like button on your machine so that I can get a little bit of love on the YouTubes and everything that's going on here. I think this is the new start time for me. I think 8:30 works better. 8 is a bit of a rough situation, so I might be doing 8:30 to 9:30, 9:45. If there's a lot of you in here, if there's a lot of attention, maybe we'll go till 10 and then toss it over to SCN Live every morning. So obviously the mornings where I have to head off to host or be on SCN Live, I'll stop at 9:30 and roll out. But this might be the new time. Maybe I'll do 8:15 to 8:30 is just us catching up with each other, shooting the shit. And then at 8:30, I'll actually start the show for people who are wanting to talk about the topics that I'm going to talk about. So I think that might be the way to go too. 8:15 coming in, talking to you all, shooting the shit a little bit, hearing what you all have to say, and then at 8:30 we actually start the show until 9:30. So that might not be a bad idea too. So we'll see. Let's see. All right, let's jump into the first topic as we go along here. And I'm sorry about the sync issues. Hopefully I can figure that out. I mean, I just got the camera. I feel like I got the lighting and the camera working just right, and wouldn't you know it, there's sync issues. So I guess I'll have to figure that out next. Welcome to my world. Isn't this a lot of fun? All right. The first thing we should talk about is A Quiet Place 2. The new trailer dropped yesterday. It was about a minute-long trailer. There was also a minute-long featurette that came with it. This one really shocked the hell out of me with how much they're exploring in this one. The film comes out on March 20th, so it's just around the corner. Let me see if Krasinski wrote the original, directed, and starred in the original one. You guys remember that one? It was really just one of the best horror films I'd seen in such a long time. Really, there were moments where I was staring at the bottom of the screen because I didn't want to look up to see how insane the action was and how horrific the action was in that first film. And, you know, the first film was so damn good. It was brilliant. It was intelligent. The use of sound, this idea of something as simple as sound. Remember, sound is so important in horror films, right? You can hear the creaking of the steps, getting that phone call inside the house, right? Hearing the ch-ch-ch-ch of the theme music for those horror films, things of that nature, you know, or in Friday the 13th, or with Freddy, you can hear, you know, the 1, 2, Freddy's coming, or the dragging of the claws, things of that nature. Sound is so important in horror films. Even the screams as part of the horror films is important. But this idea of removing sound, and that sound leads to you getting killed, this is something that, you know, it took that whole idea of sneaking around to the nth degree. This idea of, like, you know, you don't want to make too much noise. You don't want to get caught sneaking in at night. You don't want to get caught doing whatever. This is, if you get caught, you're dead. I mean, that's the kind of conclusion here. So, I mean, it raked in over $300 million on a $17 million budget. So I think the Krasinskis are doing just fine in their lives. And the new trailer rather was dropped on the Paramount YouTube channel. I think one of the biggest things to come out of this is that you're going to get flashbacks to the time before the aliens came. And there was a little bit of that in that previous trailer, but in this trailer we get a little more time with Cillian Murphy. This idea, we're going to go back and see what Cillian Murphy's life was like, what happened to his family, how he survived, how he got these people together. Are they living it's weird, you can tell, like, are they living in a community? Do they stumble upon a community? What is the situation here? So much to explore in this trailer that I saw that I enjoyed and want to see more of. Certainly it's great to see Cillian Murphy as a massive fan of Peaky Blinders and so many different things that he's done. I always felt he got a little bit lost in those Batman movies, and he was too big of an actor to play such a smaller part, such an ancillary part for me personally, and it was great to see him kind of stand out in Peaky Blinders and do his thing. So to see him getting a shot to be maybe sliding into the pseudo lead of this franchise could be interesting. Remember, Krasinski died in the first one. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it. And so Cillian may be sliding into that patriarchal role in the sequel to take that place. Now, does that mean he'll have a relationship with Emily Blunt? I don't know. A lot of people love that John Krasinski, Emily Blunt connection. So you start replacing John Krasinski with someone like Cillian Murphy, maybe people might get a little bit upset. But she's got the baby in tow. The baby's in the suitcase. You know, if there's anything that can make a lot of noise because it doesn't know how to moderate itself or modulate itself, it is a baby. So it looks like in the suitcase they've got it lined with like soundproof things in case the baby makes any kind of noise. Of course, the two younger actors are back from the family as well. The girl who is deaf, she's in this thing as well. And we see the creatures really starting to attack, jumping on cars, jumping out of pipes, things of that nature. So very interesting, very enjoyable to see that. And of course, the featurette that was included along with this trailer kind of gave you like 30 seconds of it. The first 30 seconds were kind of giving you the background of the first movie, what happened. And then the next 30 seconds talks about what they're going to do in the sequel and what's going to happen here with new people coming in with this, who are they trying to save? She says that there are people worth saving. Cillian Murphy doesn't want to save anybody, so it's got shades of The Walking Dead, in my opinion, this idea of going from community to community to avoid these creatures, and you're going to see the good and the bad that people can be in these kinds of extreme situations. So that certainly seems to be what the angle of this trailer is and what the angle of this movie is going to be, because now Emily Blunt slides into the lead of this family, right? With the passing of Jim Abbott, Krasinski's character in the first one, it is now Emily Blunt, who will lead and navigate this family to safety, hopefully. And we wonder, look, they had no problem killing off a couple of family members in the last movie. So will that happen in this movie? I don't know. Like, that could be insane as well. Who is going to sacrifice themselves? Will this family keep getting passed on? Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see where this goes. There is this idea of survivors coming together, banding together in this community. So what will this community look like? Who will be in charge of this community? What will be the ins and outs of this community that they'll have to overcome? Things of that nature. So I look forward to seeing more of that. And hopefully I'll be getting out to see a screening of it soon. I'm excited to see what this would be overall and how much joy people will get out of this. Let's see. Let's see, do I have any Streamlabs? Let's see. Okay. Oh, I got some Streamlabs coming through. Let me jump on to those. Let me know what you thought as well. Did you like this trailer? Did you like that it was only a minute long? Did you want it more? Or are you good? Are you already going and this was a nice taste for you to get you into the theater? Let me take a look here. I want to move the camera just a little bit. Is it just a little bit? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Little bit this way? No, a little bit this way. All right, there we go. All right, cool. Oh, no, a little too much of the shades there. All right, I guess we'll have to leave it where it was. All right, I'm leaving it where it was. There it is. All right, cool. All right, let's jump into these Streamlabs. Let's do this thing. Andrew G donated first. He said, "What up, Rocha? Did you get into any of the Star Wars expanded media like comics, novels in the past? Did you see the stuff from last night's Project Luminous reveal, the High Republic stories they'll be putting out this year? Sounds like fun stuff." I did not see the Project Luminous stuff. I know many of my colleagues went to that event. I'm still at that stage where I'm not getting invited to the stuff. I've got to be more what's the word? I have to work harder at getting into people's faces to get invited to these kinds of things, to cover it for you all, for the Outlaw Nation. So certainly I'm excited to read my colleagues' coverage of Project Luminous. Looks like a lot of fun. I think Riley was talking about it on Riley's Cantina with Ken last night. So certainly a lot of people addressing it overall. I did read a lot of the novels when I was younger. Like when I was when I was a young teenager, I would pick up those books at the 7-Eleven. But back then they used to sell them on the 7-Eleven in racks. So you could buy those paperbacks and read them and get into all that kind of stuff. And I enjoyed reading them, certainly when I could afford to buy them. They were a lot of fun. But to be honest with you, I don't pay attention to too much of that stuff. Like I don't remember too much of that stuff. So I'll have to do my own due diligence on it for sure. I was enjoying the comic books when I was producing Jedi Council. It was fun to kind of catch up on the comic books. On the Darth Vader comic books, on the Star Wars comic books, on the Dr. Affleck title. That was a lot of fun to get into all of that. So certainly that's a good one for me to get into. So, all right, let me move on. Thanks, Mop1010, for subscribing. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, like I said, we just crossed the 12,000 subscribers. I want to get to 20,000 as soon as I can. So if you're a first-time listener, first-time viewer, if you come in a few times, you're not sure, you're like, all right, he's done it for a couple of weeks now, but will he keep doing it? Trust me, I will keep doing it. It is my goal to make this all happen. So hitting that subscribe button really helps a lot. And if you haven't hit the like button, I'd love it if you hit the like button as well. And it's been great. I mean, the show has been getting, 1,500 to 2,000 to up to almost 10,000 views per episode. So I really appreciate everyone coming aboard and giving this thing a chance and having a lot of fun with me. So thanks a lot. All right, Jake Yacovetta sent in one. He says, go to your settings. Go to your settings, click on properties. All right, go to your settings, which is the gear icon. Is that on? Okay. Click on, what are your settings where? Like, okay. Go to the gear icon. Yeah, okay. Click on properties. I don't see properties. I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't know what you're trying to say about the properties. No, cancel. Okay. Go to your settings, click on properties, check on, apparently that's helped the lag issue for others. All right, but where, Jake, where on the gear settings? Brother, I don't know where the gear, do you mean my actual gear settings, like here on my system preferences? or do you mean the settings on YouTube, or do you mean the settings on the OBS? There's all different things that I can click on there. So, and if I do properties, the only gear icon I see is up here in the middle between the transition. So if there's something else I need to be clicking on, let me know. All right, let's see. What else have I got here? I've got another Streamlabs. It is from Adelia Chamberlain. Thank you so much, Adelia. I just wanted to say thank you for your comments on depression yesterday on SEN Live. It was exactly what this seriously depressed girl needed to hear at that moment. I appreciate your honesty and hope that things are going well for you right now. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Adelia. Yeah, it's my honor to be honest with you. I'm a big fan of talking honestly about this kind of stuff. I think it's helpful for everybody to talk honestly about this kind of stuff. And if you don't, I don't know we can get to the resolution where you get rid of the stigma of it. I think that's the biggest thing for me is I took it upon myself to start talking about it, take a chance. You guys know I will take chances to talk about stuff because I just think the stuff should be talked about, for better or worse. You know, maybe it means I don't get a lot of subscribers or get a lot of followers, but I'm always going to talk about stuff. I'm not afraid to talk about stuff. And so things of that nature, like what I went through in 2016, I think it's helpful for a lot of people to talk about their stuff. And we saw more athletes, more actors, more people in the spotlight start talking about this. You saw recently what happened to that young woman who was a host in Britain, 40 years old. The press got a hold of what was happening with her. They got into her stuff, and, you know, she ended up killing herself because of the pressure of the press. And why is that? And it's because that instinct was already inside that young lady, and it just got triggered. And the thing is, if you don't talk about it, people aren't ever going to address it. People aren't going to, learn techniques to get past it. And if you don't destroy the stigma of it, meaning that you're supposedly weak, then you're never going to find your way out of it. I think it's important to talk about it honestly. And, my methods may not work for, like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's unique. Your methods you've got to discover on your own. That's what I always tell people. There's not a magic pill. There's not like, hey, do this and it'll fix itself. No, you've got to work at it. It's part of your own journey as well. Yes, therapy can help. Yes, meditation can help. Yes, reading all those books can help. But you got to figure out what works for you, because you got to want to live. You got to want to come out of it. That's really an impetus for anything in life, right? Anything in life. You've got to want to figure it out. And if you and I never judge anybody who falls down the hole and takes their own life. I never do, because I know what that battle is like. And so when they take that ultimate decision, it does take a certain amount of strength to do it. And so for me, I never try to put those people down, because the battle, sometimes just because you can't win that battle that day and you take your own life, it doesn't mean that you are somehow less worthy of anything. So it's the game. It's unfortunately the game that you have to fight with yourself and play with yourself. And you come to that moment, you're like, you know what? I just can't do it anymore. And if all the tactics don't work, if nobody's there to help you, sometimes that's going to happen. I look at the mental health and depression as a war, and we're going to lose soldiers along the way. And you never know if one day you're going to be that soldier who gets killed in the battle or in the war. So that's the game. So you have to do everything you can to be prepared for every day, so that when those moments come, when the heat of the battle comes, you're able to survive it and move on to the next one. So that's what I would say, Adelia, to you. Thank you so much for your comments. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Jay Golden Eyes donated as well. It says, popping my mornings with Outlaw Cherry. Hello. Appreciate your hard work and work ethic, brother. Thank you for bringing content I enjoy. Thank you, Jay Golden Eyes. I appreciate it. Thanks for sending in your Streamlabs. I appreciate you watching the content, getting into the content, and enjoying the content. It means a lot to me personally. I'm a big fan of everything that people do, and I'm a big fan of everything of people who come aboard this train and want to enjoy the content I'm creating, because I'm doing the best I can with all this stuff, and I'm trying to do what I can to bring you more interesting and unique content, and varied content as well. Like I said, sports, professional wrestling, entertainment news, things of that nature. It's all here for people to enjoy. So I'm doing the best I can, and interviews with people that I can get on to come on the Deep Cut. All of that is fun, and Outlaw Nation show at some point down the road as well. So, all right, next one is from Jay Scotty for real. Who has had the more consistent directing career so far, Jordan Peele or Greta Gerwig? Can't help but compare the two. I believe Peele had the stronger debut, while Gerwig delivered the superior follow-up. overall think I'm more excited for her next feature? I think it's a very good question you bring up here, Jay Scotty. Yeah, two features there. You got Us and Get Out for Jordan Peele. For Greta Gerwig, you have Lady Bird and Little Women. Now, I will say this, I give the edge a little bit to Jordan Peele because I think there's consistency to Get Out and to Us that I don't think is strong in Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird and Little Women. Although I love Little Women is based on source material, whereas Jordan Peele, both of these stories, if I'm correct here, both of these stories are original stories. So I'll always give the nod a little bit to the original story because there is no net to fall back on when you're creating an original story. With a source material, there is a little bit of a net. That being said, though, it really is a microcosm, a micromillimeter of difference between those two. They're two great talents, two working in two completely different genres. You know, obviously Jordan Peele in horror and Greta Gerwig more in the drama, human drama of life. That's what she is tackling more than often than not in her movies. So there's, you know, both of these people are doing fantastic work and filmmakers that we should all keep an eye on to see what the third film is going to be and what they're going to be able to produce. So I look forward to that 1,000%. All right, that's all the Streamlabs for right now so far. Make sure I didn't get any new ones while I was answering those. Computer's being weird. Now this computer's being weird. What the hell? Come on, guys. Work with me, techno. Is Mercury in retrograde today? Is that what's going on? It's so weird. Oh yeah, I did get one more here. The Schmo Way. In the spirit of A Quiet Place 2, which movie would be more difficult to survive? A Quiet Place, The Happening, or Bird Box? Hashtag Outlaw Nation. Really, going to reference The Happening? I think I'm going to throw The Happening out immediately and say no to The Happening. I think for me, if you know me, A Quiet Place would be the most difficult thing. Are you telling me I have to live in a world where I can't do any shows, I can't do any voiceovers, I can't use my mouth to do anything, or to make noise rather? I think that would be very difficult for me, to be honest with you. Bird Box would be tough just to be blind the whole time. That would be incredibly difficult, of course. But I think for me, especially being a bigger guy, a lumbering guy, I think I'd have a tougher time in Quiet Place and not doing something that would cause noise and cause everybody to die. So there you go. That's my honest answer. All right, I got over 160 you all in here. Thank you so much for joining me this morning on the Mornings with the Outlaw. Please swing that cursor over, hit that like button. We're over 105 likes. I'd like to get up to 150 likes. That would be a blast to be able to do that. So thank you all so much. And let me take a look here. Jake, what were you saying earlier here? OBS, your setup must be different, is what he said. So yeah, it is a little bit different. I can send it to you if you like. Maybe take a screen grab, or is it duplicate scene? Is that the problem that's going on here? No, it's not duplicate scene. Is it swap preview output scenes after? No, none of that stuff. So it's really weird. I don't know what to tell you. Is it a scene transitions thing? Nope, those are fine. Is it an image thing? I don't know. It's very, very weird. So we'll do the best we can there. All right, let's move on to our second topic here as we swing into the 9 o'clock hour here on the West Coast. And the second topic I got to talk about, and I've been excited to talk about, is Ben Affleck talking about the Snyder Cut. He was one of the cast members to voice his support for the release of the Snyder Cut back in November of 2019. If you remember, Gal Gadot did that. A number of cast members from Justice League voiced their support for release the Snyder Cut, that hashtag that's out there. And, you know, it's been funny. Like, I'm a big fan of the Snyder Cut. I want to see the Snyder Cut. I've been talking about seeing the Snyder Cut from the beginning. It's been hilarious to me to see videos or people say things like, oh, you know, Rocha, he's finally come around. He's finally... I was never out of this idea of wanting to see the Snyder Cut. I think you can find old movie talks where I said I always support a creator releasing their version of the film. Now, that being said, BVS wasn't that good of a movie, so maybe there's hesitation to release that Snyder Cut. I said I totally understood that because it's not an easy thing to release if it's not going to make a lot of money, and it might look bad on Warner Brothers for them to release the cut, knowing that, yeah, they made the mistake by not having that be the original release of the film, and Zack Snyder and everybody else who defended Zack Snyder and wanted him to finish the project could get like a little bit even more, I don't know, could get even more credit that they were right. And I think that's the last thing a studio wants to release is something that's going to make them look bad. Anyway, there were rewrites to this whole thing. like I said, the hashtag release of Snyder Cut was on Twitter, and it went over for like 2 years, and then it really hit its apex, I think, on the 2-year anniversary with all these celebrities came out and said hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Well, Ben Affleck has a new movie coming out. It's called The Way Back, which I can't wait to see. I'm trying to get into that premiere for them. I don't usually like to go to premieres because they can be annoying and really like a lot of time, very time consuming for your night and your day. But this is one I certainly want to go to, and I've been talking to the publicist over there, and hopefully I will get into the premiere of the movie because I really want to be there to see Ben Affleck talk about it. Ben Affleck's one of these guys that I've quietly been cheering for quite some time, since Good Will Hunting, since Armageddon, those times in the 90s. I was always a fan of Ben Affleck. I always thought he had this charm to him, like a dude charm to him that I really appreciated. And then when he fell down with all this stuff with J-Lo, it was sad to see, but when he came back as a director, I was so happy and enjoy his movies so much. So I got a special place in my heart for Ben Affleck and for his continued sobriety and continued success, because I think he's an incredible talent, both in front of the camera and behind the camera. But anyway, in the new movie, he's out here doing these press junkets. I couldn't get into the junket. They were doing it in New York. The publicist said, we can't fly you out yet. I guess I'm just not big enough yet, or maybe I don't have a website built up, which is coming in March to validate them sending me enough of a footprint, and that's coming. You know me. I will make that footprint happen. So anyway, The Way Back is coming out, and he was talking to Cinema Blend in one of these interviews with them, one of these junket interviews with them, and he was asked about the Snyder Cut and the Justice League, and he said, I didn't know about it. Zach was like, hey, they are doing this thing, and I said, Zach, I love you and I support you. However I can help you, I do think that movie, having 2 directors is a very weird thing. And for Justice League, the director had family tragedy. And so you have a kind of cow's body with a horse's head a little bit with 2 directors a lot of times, for better or worse. I do think Zach's cut should be available. There you go. Very honest assessment of the situation, comparing it to 2 animals being essentially human centipede together is an interesting choice, but you get his point. This idea that, it's unusual to see these two things come together and they don't look natural to you, even though it still functions like what it's supposed to function like. It looks unnatural. And of course, Ben being a director himself, it must have been very difficult for him to accept that. I think from what I read here, Ben Affleck, they had moved him to be an executive producer on the film. And there was the belief that if they did that, he was going to have more of a creative, more input on the creative direction of the film. But in the long run, he did not. And they did 80 pages of rewrites. 80 pages. So, and remember his previous quote, which talked about on another episode of Mornings with the Outlaw. He talked about that one of the reasons he walked away from Batman was because of how arduous the process was of doing Justice League, how irritating and frustrating. And his friend said, if you do this, you're going to be, you're going to drink yourself to death and things of that nature. So certainly that Justice League process soured Ben on it. So maybe there was a better direction for his Batman character. Maybe there's a better avenue, better story, better action, better presence in the film than what we saw. And so maybe there is something here for Ben on his end to support the idea of this thing coming out as soon as possible. So I like the idea. I've always been a fan of the Snyder Cut. The only 2 people who haven't talked about it publicly or so in support of it are Henry Cavill and Ezra Miller. But Ezra has been very supportive of Zack Snyder. Cavill has done the gentlemanly thing where he's still not, they haven't decided 100% what's going to happen with Superman. So Cavill, I think, is like kind of hedging his bets in that way and be like, well, I'm going to not say this stuff because I don't want to piss off Warner Brothers. I want to do my own thing. So that's, I think, what's going on there. So, and I respect that. But I mean, Justice League, look, I've defended Justice League for certain scenes. I enjoy it more than BVS because BVS overall is, to me, a massive disappointment. Whereas Justice League, I knew what I was walking into, which is 2 directors trying to slam a movie together, and I knew it wasn't going to be that great overall. So my expectations weren't that high for Justice League. So the fact that it did anything that made me care about these characters, I thought was a positive. But with BVS, that was all Snyder, and I think Snyder really fumbled the ball on that. But I loved his Man of Steel, and I didn't even like the ultimate cut of BVS even. I thought it was an even longer film that felt like there was so much conversation before we got any action. Not that that's bad, but you got to make the conversation interesting, and I didn't feel it was interesting. But there are good scenes in BVS, there are good scenes in Justice League, but overall, I agree. I mean, if you don't want to talk about that CGI mustache, hair lip, whatever that was that they did to Henry Cavill. I mean, I don't understand how you make that kind of mistake, but whatever. I mean, Ben Affleck must have been so broken up to be a part of that situation overall, and I'm sure it must have taxed him. You know, when you're doing your smaller movies like Gone Baby Gone or The Town or even They Live by Night, you're not, the studio isn't on top of you. But when you're doing one of their mad properties or mad huge properties like Batman, like Justice League, like the DC Comics stuff, they are on top of you because they want to nitpick every single thing you're doing. And maybe Ben in his head was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go back to smaller stuff. Look, the Way Back is a Gavin O'Connor film. That's a smaller film. It's Ben, dealing with the character, rather, dealing with sobriety and alcoholism, whatever you. Certainly it rings true with Ben's own story. So that's a good combination of things. And this is how you come back. This is how we see people come back all the time in the business. Go to smaller films, show what you can do, and then people want to see you again in the larger stuff. So I say you can never say never in this business. Ben Affleck certainly has a chance to come back and do something down the road, maybe even superhero related or some form of that. Wouldn't you want to see him do a version of Taken? Be a guy like that who's going to get people. I know Payback was kind of a version of that, but you want a hardcore Ben Affleck who's going to get revenge. That would be fun to see. So we'll see down the road how this all plays out if they release the Snyder Cut. I think they should release the Snyder Cut. I've been on record saying that for years now. They should put this thing out, let it be done and over with, and move on. Like anything else, it's closure, right? You get the closure. They did it with Richard Donner. They let him come back and re-edit his Supermans. Why not let them come back and re-edit this Justice League and let Snyder do his thing? Plus, people who are so irritated by the Snyder Cut, and I see fellow colleagues on film Twitter who never miss a chance to take shots at Snyder or take shots at the Snyder Cut or take shots at fans who want to see the Snyder Cut. And of course, they focus on the minority of fans who are the most vocal and mean about it because it promotes their argument that it's a bunch of crybabies who want to see the Snyder Cut, which I think is absolute horseshit. I think there are legitimate people who are fair thinking, normal thinking people who want to see this Snyder Cut and enjoy it. But unfortunately, it doesn't help when critics or pundits are out there like gleefully taking shots at these guys or at these people who want to see the Snyder Cut and lumping them all into the worser parts of their nature. That's like taking, a couple of film critics are actually assholes and going like, see all the film critics. And I just think that's not the way you do those kinds of things, in my personal opinion. I always keep one foot in the fandom, one foot in the world of criticism, and I never want to lift up my foot from either one. All right. Let's see. Do I have any more Streamlabs? Any super chats coming through? Got over 175 of you in here. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it on this lovely Tuesday morning. All right, yeah, no more Streamlabs have come through so far, but I did get another subscriber, Andreas Christou. Thank you so much for coming aboard. Any super chats? No super chats. What's going on, guys? Are we not supporting the Outlaw? Are we not loving the Outlaw Nation? Is that what's going down? Is it a Tuesday? Is that what's going on? Am I not doing enough to get your money in here? I wonder. Maybe it's on me. I'll have to take a look at myself. Maybe it's the lag. Is it the lag? Is the lag the issue for you guys? We shall see. All right, let's look at some of these. Jake, what do you got? What do you got for me? A lot of people rolling through here. Let's see. Human Centipede is a perverted movie. Yes, it is a perverted movie. It is absolutely a perverted movie. Darren Batten says Snyder has admitted his cut was not finished. It still needs special effects. Yeah. And Kevin Smith said about $10 million worth of special effects. So that's what you need to do with that. Yeah. And Zeno Hour says, I agree with Affleck. Release it in whatever form so we can move on. Yeah, absolutely. Thoroughly agree with that. Andre Hightower says Man of Steel and BVS are masterpieces. No, they're not masterpieces at all. But I think Man of Steel is a damn good movie. Let's see. Travis Earl wants the Snyder Cut, so that's good. There you go. As soon as my tax refund comes in, says Kelsey Kirkland. I appreciate that. The Snyder Cut, Schmoe says the Snyder Cut could make for a great documentary and treatment similar to The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? Yeah, that great documentary from the man John Schnepp. Shout out to the man John Schnepp. Yes. That was an awesome documentary, and I loved it. I remember seeing it twice. I went by myself, and then I took my friend Shannon, my fellow geek buddy Shannon McClung, to see it. We had a really good time seeing it. So there you go. All right, don't forget, of course, later on this week, we've got Geek Buddies coming up. Probably going to record the episode tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching the Geek Buddies shows. I put them on camera because I thought this would be a way for you all to kind of connect with the Geek Buddies, kind of, touch base with the Geek Buddies, kind of see our faces as we talk about things and enjoy our chemistry. If you haven't given the Geek Buddies a chance, please, I can't recommend it to you enough. Go onto my YouTube channel, watch a couple of those episodes, see our natural chemistry. We've been friends for 20 years, so we have a lot of connections around nerd fandom, movie stuff. Michael Vogel is an executive, a former executive rather, at Hasbro. He worked for Transformers, worked for G.I. Joe, worked on those kinds of things. He's currently running 3 or 4 different, or not running, but certainly working on 3 or 4 different animation projects the whole time. Shannon McClung writes for a number of animated series. He's also an actor on camera. And I do what I do with this. So with 3 different points of views, but certainly inside Hollywood with Michael, Shannon kind of being the on-camera guy, and me being the guy who's like analyzing stuff behind the scenes. All 3 of us coming together for unique perspectives on the world of entertainment and everything going on with that. And certainly there's going to be a lot of fun coming down the pipe with Geek Buddies. We're doing more and more things, more and more reviews, and what have you for the channel. So please go and watch some of those Geek Buddies episodes if you haven't. Trust me, it's a good time. We don't take anything too seriously. We have a lot of fun. We do battle, we do debate, but we're always friends by the end. And I think that's important. That's important energy to put out into the world overall. Let's see here. What else are we going to talk about today? Oh yeah, there's a big thing that we should talk about, but before we do, I just want to remind you all there's other content coming down the pike as well here on the channel. Please don't forget to watch all the stuff. Like I just put up a review of Emma. I'm going to be doing a review of Sonic later on today. I will absolutely be reviewing the new Wangers film. That will be on my channel as well, and I'll do a reaction video to the new Transformers stuff, and maybe even the new Westworld 3 trailer as the Outlaw. Wouldn't that? I'm kind of looking forward to that. So, Jay Scott Friel says, I just saw Shannon on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yes, Shannon McClung was just on Brooklyn Nine-Nine and the Goldbergs. Yes, he was doing both. He was having a couple of scenes with Joe Latruglio and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then he was the co-host of a morning talk show for the Goldbergs, where Mrs. Goldberg comes on to the show to have a conversation with him about her book that she's promoting. So really, really funny stuff. Shannon's an incredibly funny actor, and it's my pleasure to be friends with him. And we've been through the ups and downs of life together. We just saw Sonic yesterday and had a lot of fun seeing that too. So, all right, no, Shannon would never do the Schmodown. That's for sure. All right, let's move on to our last story, and it's it's a difficult story, but I would be remiss to not include it. Certainly never shy away from tough topics on the show, and that is the Harvey Weinstein situation. He has been officially convicted of these offenses here yesterday. A jury of 12 men and women found him guilty of 2 of the 5 potential criminal charges he faced in his New York County trial. He was convicted of criminal sexual assault in the first degree based on the testimony of former Project Runway production assistant Miriam Haley, and rape in the 3rd degree based on the testimony of one-time aspiring actress Jessica Mann. It took 5 days for the jury to deliver this verdict. He was remanded immediately into custody against the protests of his lawyers. His lawyers were complaining about his back issues and how the surgery didn't go well and that he needs special care, all this stuff. And you see him coming in. You saw him coming in with the walker. It's amazing how all these guys, it's like watching Goodfellas again, right? Like when the old mafia guys all of a sudden get convicted, they're coming in with their breathing apparatuses, their wheelchairs, their walkers to show how debilitated they are, to try to get sympathy from the jury. It's pretty disgusting to watch when it happens. He's being held at Bellevue Hospital in Manhattan. Weinstein attorney Arthur Adela told reporters he was shocked but stoic at the same time, that Weinstein was shocked but stoic at the same time. All he kept saying over and over again was, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. How could this happen in America? I'm innocent. I'm innocent. It's amazing what people will convince themselves about. He is set to be sentenced on March 11th. He faces 5 to 25 years for the criminal sexual assault conviction and 18 months to 4 years in the 3rd degree rape conviction. And I think apparently he had panic attacks and he was having like heart palpitations while he was in the Bellevue prison. And so they took him, or hospital rather, so they took him to another hospital. But yeah, I mean, what a surprise that, you finally got your ass caught and you finally got convicted, and money couldn't save you. Now you got to face the reality. You might actually be in jail and have people doing to you what you did to those poor women. So I would probably have heart palpitations and have panic attacks as myself, dreading what I'm going to have to experience in that situation. Now, that being said, he was not convicted of 3 of the charges against him, and 2 of the most serious ones was predatory sexual assault, and that would have carried a life sentence. So it could have been up to life in prison if he had been found guilty on 2 counts of predatory sexual assault. Those were connected to Annabella Shora and her testimony that Weinstein came into her hotel room and raped her against her will there. And a lot of people came out and defended her, Annabella Shora. A lot you saw on Twitter, justice for Annabella, or I believe Annabella. So there's a lot of stuff going down for Annabella Shora, and who I absolutely love as an actress. And it's sad to see her being dragged into this situation and having to be a victim of Weinstein's predatory nature, in my opinion, alleged predatory nature. She said in her testimony that her testimony was, quote, painful but necessary. While we hope for continued righteous outcomes that bring absolute justice, we can never regret breaking the silence, for in speaking truth to power, we paved the way for a more just culture free of the scourge of violence against women. Now, let's see. I want to say one more thing. We are his lawyer, his female lawyer, Donna Rotuno, she said, "We are disappointed, quote unquote. We knew we came in and we were down 35-0 on the day that we started this trial." Yeah, when your boy is pretty guilty, it's tough. Yeah, you're down 35-0. The jurors came in knowing everything they could know about this case. We couldn't find a juror who had never heard of Harvey Weinstein. The fight is not over. Yeah, they said that they saw some extremely troubling issues about this trial, so they were going to try and appeal this thing and see what happens. But this is not over by a long shot. Not just the appeal here, but there's also 4 separate charges in Los Angeles County for Harvey Weinstein as well. So this is New York. Now he's going to go to L.A. and we'll see how the L.A. situation turns out for him. He seemed to be, from a number of assessments and analysts, he seemed to be thinking he was going to be acquitted. He started feeling like more confident. You could see him like swaggering into having jokes, things of that nature. And in the end, though, he got convicted, and we'll see if this thing gets overturned. But I hope it doesn't. I hope, if they found the evidence and he's guilty, put him in jail. Show Hollywood and show everyone that this is a real thing. And this is not necessarily about Me Too or anything like that. This is more about we just got to show that if you do these kinds of things in a predatory way, you deserve to go to jail and you deserve to be convicted the highest degree that you can be convicted of, because it's a terrible situation to take someone's freedom away from them, someone's strength away from them, someone's will away from them. And a lot of people who are victims of sexual assault pass that on to other people, commit it with other people, or slide into their own holes of depression and never climb back out. Some of them find the strength and they fight through it, and they become advocates for these victims. They create these organizations that support and help these women and men. Men are victims of sexual assault as well in these situations. But to me, overall, I think you have to send a sign, a very strong sign. If we're moving forward as a society, we have to convict these people of these things if the evidence is there, and put them away for a long time to show, hey, this is what's going to happen. If you're going to do this, this is what's going to happen. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much swagger you think you have, you're always a couple of charges away from going down if you've actually done the things you're being charged of. And I think that's important, because Hollywood, this city, can swagger way too much for my taste sometimes. People getting out of cars thinking they're the king shits while they go into other rooms and they abuse assistants. They physically attack other people. They sexually assault younger actresses. They sexually assault younger female assistants or what have you. Those kinds of things that go on in this city, and it still goes on in this city. And don't be surprised if you see news about people who've been the most vocal about this kind of stuff, some of the men who've been the most vocal about this kind of stuff, if anything comes out about them. That's the thing that I always find fascinating to me, because I think people jump onto whatever in this city. Sometimes people jump onto whatever the train is so they can seem popular. Remember Woody Allen, the whole situation with Woody Allen? All of a sudden, everybody didn't want to work with Woody Allen. But, for years, people were saying He's doing these things. He's doing these. There was nothing that changed except for the public finally going, you know what? We don't want to see any more Woody Allen films because we think he's a predator. So people didn't go see those movies. And all of a sudden, all these actors who had, made their living with Woody or had been in numerous Woody films were donating their salaries to charity. Were donating all that kind of stuff. And nothing changed. It's just that the wind of, actually, nothing changed within them. What changed was the wind of public opinion blew against them, and their PR people were like, donate that salary, get rid of that salary, do whatever, we'll find a way to make that money up for you in some other way, I've heard the same thing happen recently about a certain comic who got in trouble for the Kobe Bryant things. Apparently his agents publicly dropped him, but privately they're still representing him. So that stuff happens all the time. So it's all a PR game for me. So when I see it happening, I never fully 100% believe what's actually being said. I always look at actions, and I always try to find out what's going on behind the scenes, because that's where the truth is. And there's a lot of people in this city who probably could be in trouble for those kinds of things. All right, over 170 of you in here. Thank you so much for joining me this morning here on the Outlaw Nation. Please hit that like button. I'm at 137 likes right now. Would love it if you gave me some love. And let me jump in to see if there are any super chats or any Streamlabs that have come through here. Let's see. All right. This is super chat from Charles A. Says, I love all the DCEU movies except Birds of Prey, but Man of Steel and BVS was so divisive. Also, didn't GGA credit Snyder as director for Justice League? Yes, they did. I think that was, because he had directed a majority of the movie. Josh was coming in to only fix certain things. Same thing happened with Bohemian Rhapsody. Dexter Fletcher came in to help Bryan Singer, but Bryan Singer had directed a majority of that movie, so Bryan Singer gets the credit. That's kind of how this thing works. So overall, that's where they went down. And I think that's the way. And eventually, I don't know with the DGA, I don't know what they'll do with that, to be honest with you. Because remember, this idea of they don't like to have double directors on movies. They don't like to have two directors or multiple directors. They have a hard time with that. They don't like spreading the wealth. They like to be one person to get a little bit of credibility or respect in that way. So, I'm not going to fault that. I understand it, but it's not 100% the best thing when it comes down to these kinds of things. Because I think Snyder did deserve credit, but Joss Whedon did too. Because look, if people are going to see the movie, they got to look at what the credits say. The credits should say both those names, so that both those names get credit for this thing, both good and bad, overall. All right, let's see what people are saying about these kinds of things. Haskell telling people to submit your questions in the Streamlabs and in Super Chats. It would be great. Adelia Chamberlain saying, I gave you all the money I could afford this week. Thank you, Adelia. I appreciate that. Let's see. Weinstein is in the hospital, says Dice Diddy. Yeah, I mentioned that. Certainly that is true. Manny Gonzalez says he should have gotten more. Well, we'll see. There's still more charges to come in LA County. And MK Somber said, you got to love that clip of Weinstein being escorted out of the courthouse in handcuffs, appearing to walk fine down the steps without his walker. Yeah, of course, because his walker was all for show. It really was all for show. I don't know that he has a UK trial. Darren Batten says he has a UK trial. I didn't know that he has a UK trial. Ben Lander says, proof that money doesn't buy you freedom. That's for sure. 2 of 5. Rickson Morris says 2 out of 5 is a glass half full to me, but I blame his lawyers for that. Those lawyers are really good. Yeah, that's the one thing that will buy you freedom is money will buy you freedom with lawyers. Lawyers are the ones that get you out of those situations. So, Cam said, my friend just tagged me on Facebook to help a guy in the hospital, so I'm gonna get ready, head down there and help him out. Oh, I hope everything goes well. Cam Shaft, I hope everything is okay with that guy. Thank you so much for doing that. Let's see. And good luck. Yes, good luck. Yufei plays, it looks like the pedo guy, old guy from the Family Guy. I like the fact that they used that a little bit in the first episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm this season. That was really funny, where they're accusing Jeff of being Harvey Weinstein. He must get that. He must legitimately get that a lot. So it's very funny. Let's see. The 1 count of criminal sexual abuse, yes, and 1 count of rape in the 3rd degree. I mentioned that. Ooh, pizza, man. That's a tough comment, brother. He said Hollywood is sick and everyone knew what was going on. Well, not everyone. See, look, don't talk in generalities. Not everyone knew what was going on. Some people did. No doubt some people did. And some people didn't. And I love him saying a lot of these women, it's a terrible thing what he says here. A lot of these women had sex with him willingly in exchange for a role in a movie. No, what's put on the table is when you have that kind of power, you can use that as a carrot over people. This idea, like, hey, look, your parents do the same thing. I don't mean like they sexually assault you or anything, but your parents are like, you better do this. If you do this, you'll get this. You'll do this. And that's because they have a power over you, and they can manipulate you, and they can force you into certain things. That happens, okay? So people in power manipulate people who are not in power all the time. Trust me, I know. They manipulate you to do certain things you don't want to do or be a part of certain things you don't want to be a part of because they dangle that money in front of you or that paycheck in front of you or whatever they dangle in front of you or a possible show in front of you that never comes to fruition. They can do all of that to get you to do certain things. And then you're like, oh, man, I miss out. But with this is something way worse because this is a producer using, or a director or whoever they are, using their power to manipulate a young woman to surrender herself to them. And that is a violation. That should not be happening. That shouldn't be the way it goes. You take away someone's right to, it's different than like, oh, I didn't get that thing, or I didn't get whatever. It's different when you're like being sexually assaulted in exchange for something. That's a whole nother ballgame. And it takes too much out of you as a human being. So Robert Young says, well said, Rocha. Very mature way of putting everything in. It was great meeting you in London last year. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, I hope you're coming back again. That would be a lot of fun. Let's see. John, I'd post the clickable Streamlabs and Patreon links, but I'm not. Jacobet has been doing them, man. I appreciate that. Oh, is Video Drew in here? Hi, Video. What's up, Drew? How are you? Yes, I got your text. Yes, let's do something this week. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to working with you on something. So let's do it. Matthew Dawson says, oh yeah, I'm 2 likes away from 150. Get me up there, boys. Get me up there. By the way, Ed Haskell says, by the way, the Invisible Man reviews are coming out 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. It's a damn good movie. I'll be shooting my review of it later on as well. So it's such a fun movie. And people are like, oh, come on. Is it really that good? Is it really that good? And then they're all going to see it and go, yeah, it is damn good. Jeff Snyder's going to owe me an apology. Trust me on that before this is all over. Let's see. J. Scott Friel says, Et tu, Brutus. I don't know what that means. Reboned. It's called leverage. Pizza. What is your proof? Yeah, Pizza doesn't have any proof. He's just saying stuff, just to be controversial, just for attention, maybe. Dice Diddy says, I'm in NYC and I knew Weinstein's rep since 2003, 14 years old. Whoa. A lot of people know. I feel bad for people in LA. Does anyone, mild-mannered comic nerd says, I feel bad for people in LA. Does everyone who live there want to be stars? No, not everyone. Not everyone who lives here wants to be a star. Some people live here because they want to pursue their dream. They want to see if they can be successful doing what they love, which is film. And so not everyone comes out here to be a star and be a big deal and things of that nature. It's just that the opportunities are there to take advantage of that, and people do. And there's nothing wrong with trying to be successful, not necessarily trying to be a star. Look, you can do the numbers. There's only 2% of people who make a living being a star. 2%. Everyone else is living, a decent life or just above the poverty level. It's anywhere from just above the poverty level to decent is about 98% of everybody else. And that's the truth of it. That's the honest truth of it. There are very few stars, don't forget the things, the thumb, please give me that like. I'm at 184 right now. I think of you all watching, thank you so much. Please hit that like button. Really would appreciate it. It means a lot. Kanu Haku Fu Nico Robin _DB says, I feel like a lot of people treated Joss Whedon unfairly. He didn't make the decision to fire Snyder, but a lot of people act like it was all his fault. Yeah, I think they felt like a director sliding in to take what someone else had already built. I think they were upset about that. But people forget that Joss and Zack Snyder were friends, and it was a weird situation. And remember, Joss had dealt with his own stuff doing Avengers himself, doing the second Avengers movie. That was a tough experience for him. So he had to go through his own process with that kind of stuff himself. So never easy to do that, but maybe they did. Maybe they did go after him. Maybe they did, kind of bash him, Joss Whedon, for the overall result. It happens. Some of the things he did with Wonder Woman, some of the things he did with Flash, some of the things he did with Batman and Superman, things of that nature. Maybe a lot of people just didn't like it, and so had their issues and expressed them verbally. But certainly that Russian family, that was Snyder's. So, we may get a Snyder cut and we may not like it. It's a very, very real possibility. And I say this all the time. It may be that this cut comes out and it's absolutely terrible or not great, or it's more of the same that we saw from BVS, which I didn't like. So it could split the fandom again, where people are like, oh, I hate this version of Justice League. I'll take Joss's over this. And people are like, no, screw it. I'll take Zack's over Joss's. So it could start a whole nother war again. If there's anything people love to do is battle online about these kinds of things. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it all go down and see it happen in that way. But you never know. You never know. I don't know. You never know. MK Somberg says, what do you think Disney is going to do with the release of Mulan rapidly approaching and the Chinese box office still being in flux because of the coronavirus? No Time to Die had to cancel its premiere. Yeah, the coronavirus. The James Bond movie had to cancel its premiere. Mission Impossible 7 now has stopped shooting because of the coronavirus. A lot of people think the Birds of Prey situation was hurt a little bit. The box office was hurt because of the situation there with Mulan, or I'm sorry, it was hurt because of what was happening with the coronavirus. So we'll see. Oh, hold on, everybody! I just got a text from Christian Harloff. Looks like I'm being asked to be on SEN Live. All right, I'm going to have to cut this short. All right, I guess I'll have to cut it short. Thank you all so much for joining me on this morning with the Outlaw. Oh, I have one super chat that came in, one last one here. It's from Tivishka Productions. With Georgia looking to rival Hollywood, do you think the film industry will decentralize from California in the coming decades? No, I don't think it'll ever decentralize, but we always have, productions that go to other places like Canada or Georgia, right in the South. I have a lot of friends who are working on numerous projects in the South. That kind of stuff can happen, but it'll always be LA. It'll always be LA. So I don't see it being decentralized. And certainly now with what Jerry Brown did before he left office and sort of Garcetti, all these people are trying to create tax breaks for productions here in Los Angeles. That's going to be the key to, honestly, to making it all happen. So, so there you go. All right, well, let me wrap this thing up. I appreciate you all joining me so much. I don't see any more Streamlabs, so I don't want to leave anybody hanging like I did with Chris Scorpio when Dan and I had our show. I'm going to try to book a guest for next Friday, certainly. That'll be a lot of fun. But anyway, thank you all again for joining me this morning on Mornings with the Outlaw. I guess I'm heading over to SEN Live now. I'm going to brush my teeth, put something in my hair, and head on over there. Mad love to all of you for going on along with me on this ride, and thanks for getting me over 12,000 subscribers. Means so much. Hopefully, I won't have a lag tomorrow, but at least I figured out the lighting to a certain degree. I may maybe even have to turn down the light just a little bit more, and then I'll be okay. But I appreciate all of you joining me and going along with this thing. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Hope you enjoy the world and do what you need to do today to start the new world, start a new process, start a new thing with yourself. It's always a good thing to take the next step. Yeah, maybe Monday didn't work out for you. Tuesday's a new day. See what you can do with Tuesday. Every day is a new day. You never know what can happen. So much love to all of you. Make it all happen. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Don't forget to follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And come back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Mornings with the Outlaw. I don't know what I'm going to do on Friday because I'll be heading to Atlanta for the Schmodown Live event. We'll see what I do on Friday, but maybe I'll do one from the airport. You never know. So craziness. But I'll be back tomorrow, certainly, on this channel, 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m. rather, 8:30 a.m. 8:30 a.m. PT to talk about more Star. All right. Much love to all of you. Talk to you soon. Take care. Until then, have a great rest of your Tuesday. Love.